Thank you. As you see, we've got a lot of good stuff going on in Turlock. And this morning, I was able to give my first State of the City address to the staff. And it took me about 25 minutes to get through all the good stuff they've been doing and talk about my vision to push it forward. So with that, I'd like to kind of take a step back and give you a real quick recap of our election. There was a measure on there that I think you guys have interest in, so I will talk to you about that and the execution of that going forward. And then talk to you about what we're planning to tackle in the next 100 days and talk a little bit about my vision. So the election recap, we have one new council member, it's Councilmember Jacob, replaced a different council member. And we also had Measure A go through, which is our district elections. Went through with a huge majority, 74%. 74%, and I think that can largely be attributed to the fact that the maps were drawn so well, there was so much community input to it, and I think there wasn't a council candidate or mayoral candidate that disagreed with the concept and the maps. So I think that it was very good. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens in 2 years when we have a new district, predominantly on the west side, to see what happens there. I think they will field a great candidate that adds a great level of diversity to our council, so we're looking forward to that. Even the council member that's sitting currently, who will be displaced, that will literally not be able to run again because her district was redistricted, supported it overwhelmingly. Thought it was great for the city, and so that's a testament to the preparation that went into preparing Measure A. So the election happened and it went through. Another measure that was on the ballot that did not go through was Measure B, which was a half-cent sales tax for roads at the city level. Now, I was fairly critical of that sales tax, predominantly because I think that transportation needs to be tackled at the regional level. So as soon as I became mayor, one of the first things I did, I think it was technically the second thing I did, was appoint myself to StanCog, to sit on there and make the tough decisions and work hard on the formula that's coming through for this potential half-cent sales tax at the regional level. I think that this is the key. I was talking to an individual asked me a question this morning and talking to them about regional cooperation on issues of water and transportation, and did I agree with that? And my answer was yes, because what we do as a city for Turlock, for water, for roads, doesn't just impact the person on this side of Davenberger or this side of Taylor Road, which are our boundaries. It also impacts the person right on the other side. It impacts our farms around us and our community members around us. So when I think of Turlock, I think regional. I think Denair and Hillmar and Patterson and all the other different communities around us. So that's how we're going to tackle it. And I look forward to hopefully getting a great formula on the record and pushing that forward and supporting it wholeheartedly. As mayor, I came in and had a 100-day commitment that I pushed forward, something I talked about on the campaign trail. And this 100-day commitment was talking about transparency, accountability, and just going through and scrutinizing every expenditure that we make as a city. And so we got off to a large start, which was really great. We've appointed our subcommittee for the budget that we will go line by line, every expenditure of every department. And then we also had a workshop. So we meet on the 2nd and 4th Tuesdays for our regularly scheduled council meetings. And on the 1st and 3rd, we're going to meet at the same time, same place, but have a workshop. Everyone's sitting around a table, and we agendize it so we can have all council members there to comply with the Brown Act. But we can also have other community members there, maybe have 2 or 3 or 4 members of another board, so they're in compliance with the Brown Act, all sit around the table and get all the issues out. So our first one was on water. And I made it first because right now, Turlock is at a fork in the road. We have a recycling water project with the west side, Delport Water District. We're working with them to try and get some of our treated tertiary water over to them for agricultural purposes. Now, we have that in the hopper. We also have negotiations going on with the Turlock Irrigation District, working on the surface treatment facility, basically getting water from the river so that we can lessen our pumping and create a system that cleans it and blends it with our groundwater so we're less reliant on wells. Both of those issues are connected because Turlock Irrigation District only wants to go forward if they can have offset water, right? They're going to be getting water from the river that would normally go to farms. They're saying that's great, we want to help the city, but we need offset water in the form of tertiary water or other different types of water. So I've been working with them, we've been working with them as a team of negotiators to try and say, okay, that's great, but we also need to supply some tertiary water to the west side as well because we already have a $15 million pipeline in that we need to honor that commitment and do certain things. So right now we're at a fork in the road and we're working with all those partners and I'm very excited with where it's going. It's very positive, it's very constructive, and so we're hoping to get that completed by the end of the year. Another issue that we're working on are our finances. Like I said, we'll be going line by line. We are looking at other contracts for outside services. If something is a sole source and hasn't been gone out for a competitive bid, we're looking at that. We're going to look and see, is there a better offer out there? Is there something a bigger bang for the buck? so we can really scrutinize every expenditure at the City of Turlock level. With roads, like I said, I mentioned, I'm sitting on StanCog, but that's not enough. We also need to make sure we invest in ourselves and make sure that we're doing the Band-Aid approach until that, in a year and a half, the StanCog, hopefully the half-cent sales tax goes through. And so we're making sure we set aside enough money for the pothole repair, for the slurry seals, for the Band-Aid approach to get us from here to there. And so you'll see the council to be debating those issues here pretty soon. Another big issue that we're working on is community cohesion with the California State University in our town. CSU Stanislaus is a great university, but we're trying to transform that into, well, transform it from an institution of just higher learning in our town to truly a place that's breeding and developing members of our community to be employed in Turlock. We want them to stay there. We want them to be in Turlock and to be part of our community. So right now we're working with President Shealy's office to try and get some forums put together. Our fireworks program, which was at Stanislaus, moved to the fairgrounds. We're trying to take it back to Stanislaus to highlight the campus, bring the community onto campus. That's a big deal to us in Turlock, and that's something that we're going to keep working on. So, as I mentioned, there's some big things that we've got on our plate. The top 4 things that I want to try and do is we have 5 of the 6 contracts negotiated for all of our unions. There's 1 outlier, and that's with police. And I would really like to get that squared away. It's been a while, so we're working with them and trying to have a very fair and frank conversation with them. And so hopefully we get that wrapped up here in the next couple months. The second thing is with TID on the irrigation. I think that we can get something done by the end of the year on a surface treatment facility. And then the third thing is the North Valley Regional Recycle Project, which is what I referred to about Del Puerto. We really think we can get that off the ground here very soon. And in fact, I'm going back in March with our Director of Municipal Services to work with the federal government to see what funding is available, the approval, because we'll be using federal conveyance systems for this water, to secure all of that to make sure that we can keep going forward and working with our partners in the City of Modesto and City of Ceres, etc. So we're getting those off the ground. And then, like I said, that 4th thing coming up this fall, I'm looking forward to being on that StanCog commission and pushing forward hopefully a very robust, very healthy, very aggressive half-cent sales tax. So that's my vision going forward. I'm happy to take some questions and answers on district elections, on where Turlock's headed. We have great things going on. We're very proud of our city. But like I said, we don't look at it as a us versus them mentality, the South versus the North. I talk about connecting Houston, Turlock, and Patterson to try and get to I-5, the South County corridor. But we don't need to do that at the expense of other parts of the county as well. So we are definitely a city that looks to be regional in our thinking whenever we make decisions. And we also want to make sure that we're doing the best thing for our own city. So please, I'd like to open the floor for any questions if you have them.